Hi, I'm Dennis Schulman, and I'm here to talk to you about myself. I'm a math teacher, been a teacher for 40 years. I've taught math at public schools, private schools, in elementary school, middle school, high school, and junior college for every level of math from elementary up through precalculus. And I've also taught a lot of test preparation, SAT, ACT, SSAT, GRE, and other ones that had math sections on them. I teach the whole test, the math sections and the verbal sections. And I've also done this for 30 to 40 years. I've had my own company here in Northern California. I've taught large classes twice a year at hotel meeting rooms and churches and schools. I've taught small classes, small groups, and also individuals. And I'm looking forward to continuing on and working with students to help them improve in math and in test preparation. What does it take to be a good teacher? Well, it helps to have experience, and I certainly have a lot of experience. It also helps to really understand the material well, but also to communicate it well. I mean, so many students, you ask them, what is it about their teacher that they have trouble with? Why don't they like the teacher that they have? And it's almost always they don't explain it well. And so that's what students are looking for. They're looking for someone to explain things in a clear, simple manner that they can understand. What I look for when I would hire teachers and have teachers work with me or have teachers work for me, what I would always look for, I would think, what do I want? Because I don't expect teachers to teach exactly like me. I don't want them to teach exactly like me. Teachers teach like they have to be themselves, and people have different styles. But what is it that all teachers, I think, all good teachers have in common? And I think that's enthusiasm. I think that's a really joy for the subject that they teach. And like I said before, a deep understanding of the subject they teach. And a real enjoyment for teaching, an enjoyment to be with students and to help students. And trying to make education and make the learning experience enjoyable and fun. I used to ask my students in SAT classes, do you think it could be fun to take a test? Well, they knew what the answer should be, but I don't think any of them could honestly give that answer and say, yes, it could be fun taking a test. But I had to admit that I had a lot of fun taking the most difficult test I ever took, which was the bar exam. Because at one point I was going to be a lawyer. So I went to law school at Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. And a few years after that, I moved to California and decided I'm going to take the bar exam. I'm not sure if I ever really want to practice law, but I always liked tests. I always liked taking tests. I always was successful at taking tests. So I said, okay, I'm going to take the bar exam. So of course I took a bar review course and had an incredible experience taking that test. And I realize you have to expand the meaning of the word fun to include this as a fun experience. But to me, it was a fun experience, because to me, a fun experience includes having a great challenge and meeting that challenge in a successful way. That's fun. But it's even more than that, because the experience I had taking that test was that my mind, my brain, was challenged in a way that it never had been before. I didn't understand the material that well. I hadn't been a great law student. I'd been out of law school for years. But while I was taking that test, I was completely focused and concentrated. And my mind started working in a way that it never had before. And I called that fun. And I was successful on that test. I passed it the first time. And it was just an exhilarating experience, not just the passing of it, but the actual experience of having your mind work at such a fast, incredibly effective level. And I felt like it was doing it on its own. I felt like I wasn't even in control of it. It was just knew what to do, and it was doing it. And I want to give students an experience like that in math, in test preparation, an experience where they're able to use their mind in ways that they hadn't experienced before. And we do a lot of exercises when I work with students in math and in SAT prep. I do a lot of mental math exercises. I've taught mental math workshops for teachers here in Northern California. And to me, it's one of the really good ways to improve your math skills that is helpful all through high school. I mean, obviously it's helpful in elementary school, but it's helpful all through high school. I've taught in junior college, and I did the same thing in junior college and in my SAT prep classes. because what you learn from that is how to use your mind in a focused, concentrated way and to work quickly. And of course, you develop number sense, which is essential. I mean, what is lacking for most students is number sense. They use calculators at a young age, and they can't add numbers. They don't understand how numbers work together. And you can't be really successful in math without having that number sense. So we develop that in a fun way through mental math exercises. Now, when I first work with a student, and they could be a really good high school math student and taking calculus, we start doing mental math exercises and they say, I can't do that. And I'm talking about 33 plus 50. I can't do that. How about 33 plus 69? Of course they can't do that either. It's harder. But it's so easy. And they learn some techniques and then they enjoy it. I've had students in my classes, because I've worked in communities where the school was a part of the community, they'd come up to me after school and say, give me some math problems, give me some fraction work, give me some multiplication. They enjoyed it. They were successful at it. And their minds worked in ways that they hadn't worked before. So learning number sense, like I said, is essential, and I do that through mental arithmetic. I also focus on problem solving, and problem solving is another area that gets short shrift in a lot of math classes. It should be taught pre-high school. It's not often taught. It's not often taught well. Students may have learned it and don't remember it, but it's essential for success on the SAT. You need problem solving skills, you need techniques, and they're very easy to learn. All of this work, the SAT is a simple test. It's a simple math test. But there are two things that make it difficult for students. One is the math is something that they've learned sometimes years ago. Maybe they took a geometry class in the 8th grade, and then they have to remember it from the 11th grade. And they don't remember it well. Why don't they remember it? Not just because it was 2 or 3 years ago, but because they never learned it that well in the first place. You have to learn math with understanding. And a lot of students learn it from memorization. You can get by with memorization, study for a test, pass the test, and then forget about it. But you can't get by in the SAT that way. So you have to understand things. And, we teach them what things mean. Like, there's an example of a subject, a topic in geometry. And then this is on a lot of SAT tests. The topic is size of a triangle. And the definition is, or the property is that two sides of a triangle have to add up to more than the third side. Very few students remember that because they don't really understand it. They just memorized it. So we show them with our arms. Let's say each arm is 2 feet long, okay? If you set them up like this and then you spread them apart and you make them flat, you don't get a triangle anymore. And how long is it from elbow to elbow? 4 feet. So you can't have a triangle where the distance between those two elbows, the third side of that triangle, is more than 4 feet. And it can't be 4 feet because then you got a flat line. So this is understanding how that property comes to be. And hopefully that will help them understand it, to remember it, because they don't remember it. And there's so many things that they don't remember. And there's so many things that they have trouble learning because they don't learn it the right way. And they don't have the number sense. Factoring is critical throughout high school. And so many students are not successful at it because it requires a good understanding of addition and multiplication quickly, accurately. So these are the foundational skills: fractions, decimals, percents. These are the foundational skills for success in all of high school math. And this is what I do with students, and this is what I do with enthusiasm, and add a lot of humor into the class, and hopefully they have a fun experience. And now we're doing it all on Zoom, and I have my little writing tablet, and so Zoom is very effective. I'm enjoying it almost as much as being live. I'd rather be live, but it can be done very effectively with groups and with individuals. So I look forward to continuing working in math, in problem solving, in SAT prep with students in the future. Thank you for watching.